LeBron Ramon James is a Philadelphia 76er. My goodness, man. My goodness. How many of you actually thought that he was going to choose Philly over Cavs, Heat, Golden State, even um, Minnesota, or Denver, I guess? But I don't think he was considering. I don't know. I think by the end, he was choosing between Philly, Heat, Cavs, maybe Warriors. I love it. I think this is his best choice, and the reason why is because look, if he chose Warriors, you got Steph, you got him, you got Jimmy. Maybe you trade Jimmy for someone else. Maybe I don't know. But that's kind of all you have, and that's good. But the pieces around you aren't really enough. Would they make into the playoffs like that? I'm sure. But how would they make it further? How do you play against OKC? How do you guard Wemby? How do you just even advance in the first place? I think LeBron and Steph is probably um, it would have been the most fun to watch team up, but it just didn't make sense. Obviously, it also would have made sense for him since San Francisco is the closest one to LA. So if he had stuff still happening in LA, maybe um, something with his kids, that would have been a pretty decent option. But that's pretty much it. With Cleveland, he would have fit in perfectly into that small forward spot. It would have been Harden, Mitchell, LeBron, Mobley, Allen. It looks great. Off the bench, we have a few decent guys as well. And sure, narratively, it makes sense. Um, uh, Competitive wise makes sense, and I'm not scared of what would have happened in the regular season. I think they would have done really well in the regular season, but I just cannot trust Harden in the playoffs. And I mean, year after year, year after year, he has been disappointing. Doesn't matter if he had a few good games. For example, last season he was very inconsistent, and in the playoffs with the team expectations being super high, if they would have added LeBron, you just can't be inconsistent. And sure, if Harden was inconsistent, then you had only Mitchell to carry most of the offense, and you would have had LeBron as well. But it's not how it really works, you know. If he would have chosen the Heat, the lineup doesn't look too bad. But my first and biggest concern that really came up was who is shooting threes. It's not Giannis. It's not Bam yet. It's not LeBron. It's not Andrew Wiggins. It's not Davion Mitchell. No, who is shooting three? Sure, they might have been able to make some other a few other moves. It's just not gonna work out really well. I think it was what 2022 season when the Lakers added Russ. Not only that team did not fit well, the 3 point shooting was not there. I'm pretty sure that was the season when the 3 point shooting was just so bad for the Lakers. They ended up losing a lot of games and eventually missing the playoffs and the play in completely. Obviously, injuries as well, but it had a lot of offensive issues as well. So, with that Heat team, it would have been definitely still good during the regular season, but how do you make it past the playoffs without much shooting? Because the offense doesn't get very versatile outside the mid-range area. But since he chose Philly, it just makes sense. Maxi, VJ, LeBron, Maxi, VJ, Jalen Brown, LeBron, Embiid is nuts. You cannot double team anybody. Who are you gonna double? Dude, imagine VJ is just frying your team. Super efficient, just you cannot guard him. He has like, let's say, 35 um, heading into the fourth. And if you just continue it happen, he might as well drop 50 in his second season. Well, but what do? Switch defenders? It didn't work. He's frying your ass. Are you gonna double team him and leave who open? Maxi, LeBron, Embiid. You cannot double team. So the starting lineup is goaded. Off the bench, you have Anthony Simons, who I'm pretty sure signed pretty much right after they got Jalen Brown. He saw Philly look like a contender and he wanted to go there. That was insane. So you got more buckets off the bench. They got Dean Wade, who was a good defender. I guess the one of the biggest concerns is like overall defense. I think they'll be fine. I think they're not completely done. They might, maybe no more in the off season, but I think during the season they will definitely try and get some more pieces, like glue guys. Someone who has a specific role on the team and he does it really well, and that's it. Well, whether it's perimeter defense, well, maybe it's shooting or like um things like that, specific things like that. You get subbed in, you do your job. That's it. Team wins. As of right now, they don't have a bad bench, but they can definitely still improve it. And if they do, it's over. Um, Obviously, the biggest concern is injuries. Can you trust Embiid to have one good healthy run? And I think yes. Here's why. They have added Jalen Brown. Now they have added LeBron, meaning Embiid doesn't have to over exert himself to try and help the team score points. Of course, he will still play a lot of minutes. He will still be one of the first options. to score, but he doesn't have to do it too much. And since you have now so many guys who can actually come in and lead, he can manage the load better. And if he needs to take some time off, he can. He doesn't need to get banged up every single game by playing a lot of minutes, just to then come to March and April and then be out for the playoffs. No, he won't need to be doing so much, so then he can prepare for the playoffs and hopefully use what he has left into the playoffs. I think this definitely helps that situation a lot, way more than people actually give credit for. And if that's how it goes, Philly is it's it's. I mean, let's be real. It's going to be one of the top teams in the league, at least for regular season wise. But in the playoffs, if they are fine enough, they're gonna make it far. Imagine Eastern Conference Finals, Raptors versus Sixers, a 2019 rematch, except this now one series away from the finals, and yet it's again Embiid versus Kawhi. That's granted if that trade goes through. I've heard that the league has gathered all the information they need to make conclusions. So hopefully Kawhi doesn't end up in Toronto. Um, that's the main team I'm scared for them. Not the Knicks, who, don't get me wrong, will still be really good. But guess who's back? Tyrese Halliburton is back, and he doesn't like New York. He wants them out. We need the Pacers next series, next season. Absolutely. We need that, bro. Everyone wants to fucking see that. But the Raptors, like, they snuck into the playoffs last year, and now they have Kawhi. That team, hey, Kawhi and Scotty defensively, how do you get through that? So Philly has way more options now instead of just Embiid, Ben Simmons. Jimmy Butler was good. Um, yeah, they had JJ Redick for threes, but like it wasn't enough to like really overload the Raptors that year, even though they took them to 7 and only lost because of that ridiculous shot. Now it's gonna be a lot different, a very different Raptors team plus Kawhi. So that's gonna be fun to watch. But in the playoffs, I mean, that's the biggest things. I'm excited. LeBron is a Philadelphia 76er. Signed a 2-year deal with a player option, meaning he can be playing until he's 43. He's a madman.